front end to our back end. So let's get started. Today I want to create a simple registration form. So let's go create the HTML first for it. So I'll remove everything we have already and I'll paste. Create a simple form. And then I'll add in an input. So I'll remove everything we have already and I'll paste it with a simple form. And then I'll add in an input. And I'll give it a placeholder. I say name. And I'll duplicate this multiple times. Another one for our email, and then one for password. Then at the bottom, I'll create a simple button and I say create. Okay, so let's go and check this out. This is how it looks. Then at the bottom, I'll create a simple button and I say create. Okay, so let's go and check this out. This is how it looks. It doesn't look very pretty. For now, we're not going to be focusing on the design. Later on, we will do that on later episodes. But we have a simple form. So what I want to happen is, I want the user to type in their name, their email, and their password. And when they click create, I want to send a request to our backend and then create a new user and maybe later on display them. So that is quite easy to do. In order to bind or pass the data from your front end to your back end, it's done in two steps. Step one, you need to define these variables or these data as a public property on your component. So let's go over here to get rid of this username. So I want three things. I define three public properties. First one is going to be name. The second one is going to be email, and then last one is going to be password. First, we need to define these as public property. They are accessible to our blade file and our front end. And then to bind them together, right, kind of sync them, so when we change the front end, it will be sent to our back end. We can pass all of our inputs an attribute called wire model. Okay, and then inside wire model, you can give it the name of your public property. So we have name, email, and password. I'll just give it can.
就一口。
不行，这不是小孩子过家家，我听。呀，又不说。
I'll repeat this for all of our inputs. This one's going to be email, this one's going to be password, right? And this will automatically make it so whenever we send a request to our backend, it will also include or pass along name, email, and password. So the way we can test this is actually quite simple. I'll go ahead and I'll actually create a button. And it will automatically make it so whenever we send it. And this will automatically make it so whenever we send a request to our backend, and this will automatically, okay, and then inside our model we can give it a name. Name of your public property. So we have name, email, and password. I'll just give it name. And I'll repeat this for all of our inputs. So this one's going to be email, this one's going to be password, right? And it will automatically make it so whenever we send a request to our backend, it will also include or pass along name, email, and password. So the way we can test this is actually quite simple. I'll go ahead and I'll actually create a button here. I'll add wire click, what we did on the previous episode, and I pass it this, create new user. And there's going to be one issue with this. I'll show you guys what I mean by that. I'll quit.
秀，太阳打西边出来了，你枪和笔画是一个，关键是你分得清红绿吧？
This for now.
这不是你之前一直想要的材料吗
And if we reload, I'll just click on the
该不会是你
create button. The page actually reloaded, right? So basically, we submitted an HTML form.
秀，
In order to
送个礼物而已。
fix that and not send the form, so because we have this form element here, this wire click is not working. We can actually add a prevent here, and this will prevent normal.
心动，心动就是你见一个人的时候会脸红，心跳加快；不见他的时候，你就会情不自禁的想他。
老板娘，哎，老板，说想什么？不管你想什么，想什么就说吧。
Form executions, right? And if we go and test it out now, the page did reload. Now we are getting an error, and that's because we already have a user with test.test, so it's giving us an error. It's okay, we'll fix that in a second. That's the way to fix it, okay? So if you have a form, always use wire click prevent. There is an alternative syntax, and what we can do is use wire submit, and this is kind of a short. Way of doing it. I think our function was create new.
你说什么？我听不见。啊？
now that we have done this, I'll go ahead and I'll comment this out for now so we don't get an error. Wire submit, and this is kind of a shorter way of doing it. I think our function was create new user. So now that we have done this, I'll go ahead and I'll comment this out for now so we don't get an error. I'll reload the page and I'll inspect the element. What I'll do is I'll go inside network and I'll type in some user. Okay, so test, email at test.com, and some random path. I'll click create. I'll inspect the element. What I'll do is I'll go inside network and I'll type in some user. Okay, so test, email at test.com, and some random password. I'll click create. And as you can see, we send an AJAX request. And if you look at the payload is what Livewire sent from our front end. We go in components, 0. First of all, you can see in the snapshot that public properties are visible to our front end. So you need to always be careful not to put anything sensitive inside here. But if you look at updates, you can see whatever we type in the form is actually being sent to our backend, right? So when we add model, wire model, we're basically using hard-coded data actually use our public properties. So I can say name, and then I'll do the exact same thing for email. I say this email, this password, just like that, and it should work.
transit.
So I'll save this. Let's go ahead and test it out. I just click on create and boom. This is the new user I just created. I'll add another one. I say user 123. We need to make sure we change the email because we have a unique check on our database. Good. Because welcome back. On today's episode, we're going to take a look at data binding and how to pass. And this will automatically make the user. And there's going to be one issue with this. So it's giving us an error. It's okay, we'll fix that in a second. That's the way to fix it, okay? But if you look at updates, like properties, I can say name, and then I'll do the exact same. Let's echo out, I'll create like a p tag, and then say this. Let's go ahead and test it out. I just click on create, and boom. This is the new user I just created. I'll add another one. I say user 123. We need to make sure we change the email because we have a unique check on our database. And just like that, guys, we have created a simple registration page. It doesn't look pretty. We don't have any CSS, but just like that, we have created basically a dynamic registration page without any page reloads, and it works very fast. As you can see, I'll update this. Boom. And Liver is also updating it and displaying the user under it in just a few seconds. Okay, very easy to do. Now we don't have validation yet. I'll cover that on the next episode, but this is just the very basics of data binding. Now, there is some security concerns regarding public properties. Now, whenever you pass data using render method, they won't be publicly accessible unless you echo them on the screen. However, public properties are always visible to your front-end users, so you should never put some sensitive information here. Okay, so if you have some, I don't know, secret password, you should not. Public property to store them. Always use the render method, okay? That's the better way of doing it. And we can also check this out. If I reload the page and we go on our, maybe here I'll set name to secret name, and then here I say secret email. Always use the render method, okay? That's the better way of doing it. And we can also check this out. If I reload the page and we go on our, maybe here
Kalimat video pertama itu udah masih
3.
pertama udah no.
Udah.
Berapa menit sih?
8. Kayaknya rata-rata 8-7 deh.
Right here I say secret email.
Udah mau upload Del?
Belum lah. Belum voice over.
And they go now. Element is actually available here. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's quite hard to, but whenever there's something called fire snapshots. All the public properties are included in the snapshot. Right? So you need to always be careful of that, so you don't include some sensitive information in the public snapshot. And again, all of these can be changed by the user, so you should never trust anything that's inside these public properties. Always you should validate them. So on the next episode, I'll cover how we can actually validate what the user enters in these public properties.